You know that feeling when a project kicks off with all this energy and excitement, but somewhere along the line it just fizzles out? Yeah, we've all been there. Today we're going to talk about a really powerful tool called the strategic rewind. Now this isn't about pointing fingers or doing some gloomy autopsy on a plan that failed. Think of it more like a detective story, a way to look back with 20/20 vision so you can leap forward way smarter.
It's the million-dollar question, right? We start out with these amazing ideas, killer spreadsheets, and all the motivation in the world. But then things just go sideways. That gap between what we expected to happen and what actually happened can be super frustrating. Well, the strategic rewind is kind of like our detective kit for solving that exact mystery. And our investigation starts right at the beginning with the original plan.
So, like any good investigation, you got to start at the scene of the crime, or, in this case, the scene of the creation. Before we can figure out where things went off track, we have to get crystal clear on what we were trying to build in the first place. It's time to pull out the original architect's blueprint for the project. And this, right here, is the absolute heart of it, the why. You know, every single project, every strategy, it's supposed to be a solution to some kind of problem. Maybe sales were dipping, maybe a new competitor just showed up, or maybe an internal system was just a total mess. That problem statement is our North Star. If we weren't clear on that from day one, the entire journey was kind of doomed from the start. And this table? This shows the next piece of our blueprint perfectly. See, goals can't just be these vague, fuzzy hopes. They have to be solid, concrete targets. Look at this stuff. 5% growth, 10% reduction, 50,000 adoptions. These aren't just wishful thinking. They are promises with numbers and deadlines attached. This is exactly what success was supposed to look like. Okay, so the blueprint looks solid, right? The goals are super clear. So why does so many of these perfectly good plans just seem to fall apart? Well, the answer usually isn't in the blueprint itself, but in the ground it was built on. It's time to start looking for the cracks in the foundation, our hidden and often dangerous assumptions.
Oh man, this is so important. Assumptions are like the invisible scaffolding holding up our entire strategy. We just believe certain things are true about our customers, about the market, about what our team can do. The tricky part is we humans tend to look for evidence that proves we're right, and we ignore anything that suggests we might be wrong. And that's exactly why these unquestioned beliefs are where the biggest risks are hiding in plain sight.
So what do these assumptions actually look like? Well, they usually fall into these big categories. We just assume customers are going to go crazy for a new feature. We assume the market's going to stay predictable. We assume our team can pull off a miracle on a tight deadline and an even tighter budget. Any of this starting to sound a little familiar?
So all those assumptions, they all get bundled together into what we can call a strategic hypothesis. It's basically the core logic of the whole plan, boiled down to a simple if-then statement. If we do this thing, then this other awesome thing will happen. That single sentence is the engine driving the entire project. And guess what? It runs entirely on the fuel of those assumptions we just talked about. So let's see what happens when that fuel is bad. Let's look at a classic example. The team assumed that their customers were obsessed with speed. That was their core, unquestioned belief. But in the real world, what customers were actually begging for was a product that didn't crash and had great support. See that? It's a tiny crack, but it's in the foundation. And here it is, the inevitable result. That flawed assumption led directly to a flawed hypothesis. If we're the fastest, we'll win. And the outcome? They launched a faster product that was buggy and unstable, and customers hated it. You can draw a perfectly straight line from that one bad assumption right to that bad outcome. That's the power of this kind of analysis. All right, so we've examined the original blueprint. We've inspected the foundation and found the cracks. Now comes the big reveal, the moment of truth. It's time to put the original plan right next to the final result and just take a good, honest look at the gap between them. You know, a chart like this pretty much speaks for itself, doesn't it? Over here, you've got the dream. 50,000 new customers, $500,000 in revenue. And then, over here, you've got reality. Seeing it laid out like this makes the gap impossible to ignore. And remember, this isn't about feeling bad about the numbers. It's about seeing the situation with total clarity. And this is the question you just have to sit with. Was the target itself just wrong from the start? Or were the core beliefs that got you to set that target fundamentally mistaken? In other words, was the problem in the blueprint, or was it those cracks in the foundation? Pausing to really think about this is where the real learning happens. Okay, so we've done the investigation. We've found the clues, we've identified the cause. But a good detective doesn't just solve the case and walk away.
They help make sure it doesn't happen again. The whole point of this rewind isn't to get stuck in the past. It's to get laser-focused on building a smarter, stronger future.
So how can you actually do this for your own projects? It's really this simple. Step 1, unearth the blueprint. Go find that original problem statement. Step 2, question the foundation. Get a team in a room and list out every single assumption you made. And Step 3, measure the gap. Put the plan next to the reality. This 3-step process is your toolkit for turning painful lessons into powerful fuel.
And let's just reframe this one last time because it's so important. Stop using the word post-mortem. That's a word for things that are dead. Your knowledge, your team, your company, they're all very much alive. So this whole exercise isn't a look back at a failure. It is the pre-planning for your next massive success.
So, as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a challenge. Forget about past projects for just a second and think about what you're working on right now. Today, what is the single biggest, most unexamined belief that your entire project is resting on? Go find it and start asking hard questions about it tomorrow. That is how you start building a better future, right now.